What's up, guys, and welcome back to the very final episode of our Baldur's Gate series. Now, the reason I'm on the menu screen is because obviously we're starting up at a point where there's a whole lot of spoilers. So, this is your thing. If you don't want to see the final evil choice for Baldur's Gate 3, well, obviously don't watch this video, but there is a ton more videos where this came from. I think the series took up like 50 episodes or something like that, and they're all in the description below, so you can start from the beginning with our evil Necromancer playthrough. Now, obviously we're going to make the evil choice, so if you're here for the evil choice, that's great. I'll just go for the Netherbrain thing, but this is your warning. If you don't want to get spoiled for anything, you can come back later when you're there in the game or anything like that. With that being said, let's get into the final choice of the game. I don't know how long it is. I don't know how many cutscenes there are. I know people mentioned that the ending was a little bit lackluster sometimes. So I'll just give my honest opinion after the fact. And it might be a very short episode or a very long episode, depending. Surrender! We did beat it, to be fair. Minthara destroyed it in like
Don't
2
listen.
hits.
It'll try any trick in order to survive.
Join me. Wield me. Become absolute.
Now, kill it.
We're not gonna kill it. We're gonna take it over for sure.
We could do it, you know. We could rule the world.
Oh, we could. Alright, so you get 2 choice. Command the brain to destroy the tadpoles and then itself, so that would be like the good ending where you kind of save everybody. However, we can also dominate the brain, become the absolute, conquer the world.
What are you doing? Stop!
Yeah, I'm doing what I planned to do from the beginning, taking control, or don't worry, you're still part of my design, seizing the moment. Don't worry, you're still part of my design. We still want powerful allies, or powerful puppets, you know?
Together. Conquer. Rule. Command.
Yo, our Mind Flayer army is going to be insanely powerful, though. We can conquer worlds, Faerun in itself, and every other world there is, the multiverse. Bring it on, you know? In my name. So I guess I'm gonna let the credit roll, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about my thoughts as I usually do in these playthroughs. The ending was lackluster. However, we do make everybody our puppets. I do wish there was a solution. One way, I'm just going to lower the volume just a tiny bit, just so I can talk over it without the voices being too loud. But yeah, so essentially, I would have loved it. I would have loved for it to be a solution where we wield the brain, but you know, we can kind of convince our allies that it's for the better part of, like, the better idea for us to wield the brain and dominate the world and stuff like that. Astarion is like uber down for it, and we don't necessarily need to make him like a thrall to get his approval and to get his forces. We can kind of manipulate him from the shadow. Same thing with Minthara. Minthara, I'm pretty sure, like, doesn't need to be controlled. But we are a Mind Flayer, so you know, it doesn't really matter at this point. We can just... Oh my god, this is super loud. I'm just gonna lower the volume again. But yeah. So, I feel like a big part of the ending like that, because I looked at the good ending because I knew I wasn't going to choose a good ending, and you at least get to like talk to your companions and stuff like that. Get kind of maybe a follow-up on the romance you've been having. Talk to the Emperor as well. And it feels like you don't really get any of that in the evil ending. In fact, the evil playthrough, I feel, was a little bit of an afterthought, if that makes sense. Not in as big of a way as other games do it. So I think it is one of the better game for an evil playthrough. Larian, I remember specifically mentioning in one of their in one of their panel from hell or something like that, in interview or post, and they wanted to make sure that that everything in the evil playthrough was still very good. They wanted to make sure people were properly rewarded for going the evil route. I think it was at the beginning, right? And a lot of things can change in between, obviously. But I remember Sven saying, who's like the lead director at Larian, or the owner. I don't exactly know their roles specifically, but they're pretty high up at Larian, and they mentioned that they were like, okay, yeah, people, go play the evil playthrough, go experience what we have in store for you. We want this to be the best evil playthrough possible. And I think you get gimped on a lot of levels, right? So this is obviously, I can talk about my full-on thoughts about this whole thing, to be sure, with full spoilers. So I'll talk about the whole thing without anything holding me back. And then I'll do a review with like spoiler-free stuff. But if you don't want to get spoiled on like all of the evil playthrough things, that's fine, I guess, though this is a weird place to be, I suppose, on this video. But yeah, so to enter the evil playthrough, what you actually have to do, well, not like, it's a gray area, right? There's no really evil playthrough, but the evil choices, the first one you really have to make is kill the tieflings at the Grove and help Minthara to join her at Moonrise Tower for the Absolute. And in doing so, you lose Will, you lose Karlach. Some of the companions kind of hate you for it. Astarion is super happy, and it gains you access to Minthara. You lose Alcyn, and stuff like that. So you lose a lot of potential companion, of potential questline, of potential interaction, of potential content. But you do gain Minthara. For as far as I know, there's no way to get Minthara unless you do this. I think you can like knock her out or something, and then like talk to her at Moonrise. I'm quite quite unsure. But I don't think she's going to join you until unless you spend the night with her. After the thing, because that's when she realizes that you can block out the absolute and that she feels calm, so that she trusts you and stuff like that. So that's all thing being said, I think that's needed for her. But that choice kind of blocks you out on a lot of things. The second evil choice you have to do, it would be to kill Night Song, or no, never mind. It would be to bring Night Song to Ketheric Thorn, and to kill everyone at like the last light, and bring him Isabel as well. That whole thing, and like kill all of the harbor. That whole choice. If you destroy Last Light, it blocks you out of Jaheira. I have no idea why this is lagging, by the way. It feels very odd. So I'm going to stop it right now. Maybe there is something else after this, but I think it's just going to be the main screen. Maybe. Or maybe there's a post-credit scene. I think there was one for the Good Aligned playthrough, but it was a lot about mocking the Dead 3, the Merkel, Baal, and Bane. So I don't think it's going to be here right now. But yeah, essentially the second evil choice that you make is blocking you out of Jaheira because she's with the Harpers at Last Light. It's also blocking you off if you do bring Night Song to Ketheric. It also blocks you off of Shadowheart because you kind of make the choice for her. She doesn't like that, and so she leaves. At that point, the amount of people who are actually with you at camp or in your party is getting very, very small. You have Astarion, Minthara, and Gale. Yeah, very small selection of people to play with, and you're missing on a lot of content for specifically these companions, and you don't really get anything in return. Ketheric still wants to kill you the moment you show you have the artifact, which is fair because at the end of the day, you having the artifact is kind of threatening the Absolute, right? The Absolute is going to use everything in its power to get the artifact and to get you to surrender it. Now, if there was a way for you to kind of ally with Ketheric, maybe you're like, hey, the Absolute is like weird, we should ally ourselves, kind of like you do with Orin or Gortash at the end. If there was a way to do that with Ketheric, and you get Ketheric in your party, and he's a cleric of Merkel, a cleric of death, that would be insane. You would lose Shadowheart, but you would gain Ketheric. I think that would be absolutely insane. Maybe even Balthazar, which is like a Necromancer wizard, or you can gain like better stuff than Balthazar. That like you could gain like a cool spell like you do from the Necromancy of Thay, or some stuff like that if you went down this road. However, it's not the case. Ketheric is really thankful that you bring his daughter back to him, and he's really thankful that you bring the Night Song back to him, but he does not spare you or try to ally with you or stuff like that, because his god wants him to destroy you, blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't know exactly how you make it fit, but I feel like it would be very, very insanely cool. And you have like J.K. Simmons, which is the voice actor for Ketheric, in your party. That would be so freaking awesome. A few other things would be like, if you embrace the tadpole, you could maybe get the Emperor in your party a little bit earlier. I don't know, because you get him at the end, but he could be like a nice little addition. I'm just trying to think of ways, because the evil, in parentheses, playthrough, which is more you can choose to be good or evil on many choices, and it doesn't block you out of these choices later on. So you could destroy the grove, but then be good from that point onward, or you could save the tieflings and then be evil from that point onward, like trying to help the absolute and stuff like that. And it kind of becomes morally gray, anyways, the good or evil choices, because at the end of the day, you're there to save your own skin, and a lot of choices end up being the same to save you. They're just like, do you want to be a dick or do you want to be a good person? Which is fine. I'm not harping on the game. The game is still, with all that being said, the game is still one of the best games I've played in years, maybe in all of my life. It's one of the best CRPG, for sure. And the amount of resources put into the cinematic aspect of every single dialogue is insane. The cinematography of every single dialogue, every single cutscene, some of them buggy, were some of them weird? Yes, but they were so good and immersive. Every voice actor was on point. Every mocap was really, really nice. It kind of brings you in. You compare this to how Starfield dialogues are made, and honestly, it's not even on the same level. It's insane how good this is. So I think the game is like one of the best games I've ever played, for sure. And it's one of the best adaptation of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, for sure. I do wish the evil playthrough was a little bit more robust. And I think that might come. Because I know for a fact that Minthara has a much deeper romance than what we've experienced, right? I think her romance was like 3 lines, which is very, very underwhelming, especially when she was marketed as kind of like the character that kind of makes up for the evil playthrough. But I know some of it was due to a bug, and I don't know if it's fully fixed yet, but I know it's coming. I know at some point her romance is going to be very good. I know at some point there was like some talk on Reddit or Twitter of people data mining dialogue from her being pregnant and stuff like that. So I know there's a lot of depth there. And I'm going to do a tactician playthrough where I kind of go in a more completionist kind of way. And from that point onward, I'll still do Minthara. I'll kind of do the evil playthrough, but it's going to be Dark Urges. Because I kind of want to see how good Dark Urges is, how maniacal and chaotic you can become. And I know she loves that shit. She loves that stuff so much. And I know there's also like an ending for specifically Dark Urges, which I'm hyped to try. But yeah, I don't know when that's going to come is the thing. But if you look at Divinity Original Sins 2, which is the other game from Larian Studio, it releases kind of as a mess. It's super big. It's super buggy. A lot of features aren't in the game at that time, and then over time it becomes, like over a year after its launch, it becomes really good. So am I going to start again the Tactician run right now? I'm unsure. I'll do some research to see exactly what that entails. I'll take a few days break for sure from uploading, probably. I'll see what that entails for specifically the Tactician's run. I'll release a few videos, like a full-on review, which is going to be more well put together and less spoilery than this. And I'll also release like a guide on how to build a full-fledged Necromancer wizard with all that I know right now, because I really wanted to explore the later level to see how it works. Because in D&D, the reason you play a wizard is for the end game. It makes no sense for me to make a wizard guide for the beginning of the game, because wizards at the beginning of the game aren't all of that, right? They're enablers for the rest of your parties in most cases. But yeah, the game, 10 out of 10 for me. Even with the bugs near the end of the day, near the end of the game, even with like the fact that I think a bunch of the content for the final act were a little bit rushed, like Gortash and Orin, their fight I feel would have been like Ketheric fight is like a 10 out of 10 fight, and then Orin fight is like like a 7 out of 10 fight. And then Gortash's fight, I don't exactly know what it is, but if you just fight him and his machine, it's like a 5 out of 10, being just very normal. So I feel like they were more rushed. I feel like Ketheric fight was put on a pedestal, and then the rest of the fights were kind of looked a little bit like slower. I think Orin, I think all of these fights should have had a second phase with the enemies being like like you fight them and like they're cultists or whatever, and then they transform into a second form for their chosen. Would it be repetitive? Yes. Would it be epic? For sure. Besides that, after Act 2, the game kind of doesn't really do evil choices, I feel. Because Gortash has its hand on the on everything that's government. So if you side with the government, you're evil, but if you try to take down the government, you're technically also evil. If like Orin is just crazy, right? Even if you try to ally with Orin, she just wants to kill you. You can't really. I cannot wait for the Dark Urge, however, to see if you can like ally, maybe, or like a specific version of ally or like romance, right? Because ball spawns, which she was, are kind of crazy by nature, but I think Dark Urges has a lot to do with Ball in itself. And so I wonder what is her whole thing. What's Minthara's whole thing if you are a ball spawn and Orin also is, right? Because she's crazy. Minthara hates Orin because she's crazy. But then if you're playing Dark Urge, you're crazy as well. With that being said, I give the game a 10 out of 10. I give the evil playthrough specifically a 7.5 out of 10. With the idea that you lock yourself out of the content a lot. And it's still very fun. It's still better than a lot of games. But I think it could have been done better. And knowing Larian, I know it's going to be done better. I know Larian is going to get on it, fix a bunch of things, and who knows, maybe with DLCs, maybe with upcoming patches. I don't know what form it's gonna take, but it's gonna be really good. That brings us to what am I gonna do next, because I gained a bunch of subscribers during this playthrough, which thank you all for watching the whole thing. If you've been watching the whole thing, if you joined midway just because you had fun and you kept watching, thank you as well. It means the world to me. I don't really do these videos because I want to become a YouTuber. I have a perfectly good job on the side, and I'm like I have a pretty good job in marketing, and then on the side project I do video games. So technically this is like my third hobby, so I don't have that much time to put into it. That's why there's no like heavy editing on these videos or stuff like that. And it's also why I don't necessarily stream, because my time slots are a little bit volatile. So I would like to stream if I can, like every single day at a certain point. And if you guys would enjoy me streaming these games a little bit more, it would be like 3 to 4 hour streams instead of the 1 hour content. And maybe I would like stream less often but make like these video longers, or I would cut down the streams inside of smaller videos. I'm not too sure how I would do it, but if you guys enjoy it, let me know let me know in the comments below, because obviously that's feedback I really want to get. And I'm really wondering what game or what videos I'm gonna do next. So I have a few ideas for Baldur's Gate specifically. I want to cover the modding community, because I know modders are gonna have a field day on this game for sure. I want to cover Dark Urges. I want to cover maybe some guides of what I ended up doing for Necromancer, but that's going to be like one video in itself. I want to cover my review, obviously, but besides that, I don't really know. There are a few games that came out or that are coming out in general that I always like to play, but I really don't like. I don't feel like I will play games just for the sake of continue to make videos, right? So I wanted to play Starfield as a video series following this series, but then I played Starfield and not that it bored me, but it wasn't the greatest thing ever, I feel. But yeah, so let me know in the comments below if you've watched till this point, how you felt about the game, and what you would like to see next. I'll probably take a few days of hiatus just to cool down and kind of think about what the hell I'm gonna do. But yeah, I would be very, very happy to get you guys' comment. I'll also make a community post. If you see the community post instead, you can always go look at it. And with that being said, that's pretty much it for me today. It's a much shorter episode than it usually is, but that's fine. It is how it is. I'll go think and brainstorm on some other videos I'll do, and I'll probably go cover the modding scene a little bit, because I know the modders are gonna have a field day on it. I do want to add one recommendation for this game, because I know a lot of people enjoy this game, and the popularity of Baldur's Gate was insane. It was so big. But a while ago, like a year or so ago, it was so long ago, I covered a game called Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. And Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous is a much more complex game than Baldur's Gate. The rule set used for that game is insanely complex, so I usually recommend people to play on a lower difficulty until they kind of grasp the ideas behind the combat, because it's insanely more complex. But and another con it has from Baldur's Gate is that it, like, not all of the dialogues are animated, voice acted, mocapped, cinematic masterpieces, right? But what it enables them to do is a lot more choices, a lot more dialogues, a lot more romances, a lot more companions, a lot more depth in all of these things, because they don't have to like necessarily voice act all of them or mocap all of them, so it kind of gives them a lot of leeway as to exactly what they end up doing. So the story is a lot more complex, and it gives you a lot of choice, and the one thing that's good is that it gives you real options to be evil, to transform a city into an evil place. You can become a full-fledged Lich King, if that's what you want. You can become a demon. You can become a cosmic emissary. You can become a Feywild prince. You can become an angel, the light of the heaven. So you can be really good. You can be really evil. You can become a devil like Raphael in this game. It enables a lot of choices. Honestly, playing Baldur's Gate 3 made me want to replay Path of the Righteous. I have videos on it that dates from a year ago that I know a lot of people haven't watched. So if you're wondering, like, if the game kind of is good for you, I recommend viewing the series. I might honestly stream the series from time to time. I'll see. Because it really made me want to play this game again, because I feel like that game, the one thing it did much better than Baldur's Gate was the options to be evil. The evilness of, like, the evil playthrough, the Lich King playthrough is so in-depth. It's insane, right? You may think in this game Necromancy of Thay was a very cool thing, but in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, you have like that would be like half of a quest to become a lich. Then like you have to go raise like undead heroes that used to be really really strong and now they're dead, and you can bind their souls to your will, and now you have like a party of undead heroes that like took down Cataclysm or like took down armies by themselves, or like were like insanely strong warriors and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely go check out Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I think if you're watching this video right now, it's on the Humble bundle, so it's like super cheap right now. Or you can like probably go pirate it or something. I don't push people to go pirate, but it's something that exists for sure. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had to say for now. I'll make a much more in-depth review of Baldur's Gate a little bit later, not right now. Right now I'll take some rest. I'll internalize what I lived as the experience of Baldur's Gate, and I'll see you guys next time for some more videos. Let me know in the comment below what you'd like to see next. I have a few ideas, but still, it's pretty interesting to see what you guys want to see. With that being said, I'll see you guys later. Take care. Enjoy exploring Baldur's Gate. I won't be gone too long. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Peace.